My fifth wheel mounting platform, bolts and pins are secure.
My fifth
Wheel,
wheel.
mounting
Content.
platform. This is the mounting platform. It's the platform the fifth wheel is mounted to.
Okay.
My fifth wheel mounting platform,
My 15 mountain platform.
bolts and pins are secured to the mainframe.
Bolt and pin
Are secured to the
are
mainframe
secured to the mainframe
with no cracks or bends.
with no cracks or bends.
My fifth wheel mounting platform, bolts and pins are secure to the mainframe with no cracks or bends.
My fifth
Fifth wheel
wheel.
mounting platform,
Platform.
bolts
Bolts
and pins
and pins
secured to the mainframe
secured to the mainframe
with no cracks or bends.
with no cracks or bends.
Good? And then you climb in underneath. You're not done the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
My fifth wheel locking jaw is securely wrapped around the shank of the kingpin.
My 50th rack and jaw.
Locking. My fifth wheel locking jaw
My 15th lock and jaw
is securely wrapped around the shank of the kingpin.
is securely wrapped around
Shank of the kingpin.
shank of the kingpin.
The kingpin does not appear to be bent.
The kingpin is not appear to be bent.
The fifth wheel is greased.
The fifth wheel is great.
And my valid secure license plate. I have a valid secure license plate.
plate.
That's it. Step out. That's your fifth wheel. Good?
Yes.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, you're up next. I want to get around the truck so you guys can just study it after I give it to you.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
My apron is secure with no cracks or bends.
My apron is secure with no cracks or bends.
There's no space between my apron and my fifth wheel.
There's no space in between my apron and my fifth wheel.
My fifth wheel locking handle is secure and in the locked position.
My fifth wheel handle,
Locking handle.
my fifth wheel locking handle is secured and locked in the.
Good, and locked. I'll take that. In the locked position is the real word, but we'll get you there. Good. My fifth wheel mounting platform, bolts and pins.
My fifth wheel mountain platforms and pin.
Bolts and pins
Bolts and pin
are secure to the mainframe with no cracks or bends.
are secured to the mainframe with no cracks or bends.
Good, and then we go in underneath. My fifth wheel locking jaw is securely wrapped around the shank of the kingpin.
My fifth wheel locking jar is secured around the kingpin.
Around the shank of the kingpin.
Around the shank of the kingpin.
The kingpin does not appear to be bent.
The kingpin does not appear to be bent.
The fifth wheel is greased,
The fifth wheel is greased,
and I have a valid secure license plate.
and I have a valid secured license plate.
Good?
Yes.
Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Come on out. Let's move on. That's for you to learn. Deal?
Yes.
All right. So when we come out, the next thing we're going to do is this wheel assembly. Okay?
Yes.
It's a little different because there's two wheels, but a lot of this should make sense to you. Good? But first we have to do the suspension, which is different. So my license plate is secure and valid. Good?
Yeah.
That's the last thing we did. And then we're going to step to the side and not necessarily come out. And we're going to look and say, my airbag and two brackets are secure with no cracks or leaks. Good?
Yes.
Yes.
One at a time, please. My airbag secure with no cracks or leaks.
My airbag and brackets secure, no cracks or leaks.
And then if you look a little further in, you can't see it from where you are, but there's a shock absorber. You already know a shock absorber. What is it? Shock absorber, secure.
Secure, no cracks or leaks or bends.
Good. And then you come around the front and get in here. Front spring hanger.
Yes. Front spring hanger,
Main torque spring.
torque spring,
2 U-bolts and an anchor cap.
2 bolt and anchor cap.
You say it. Front spring hanger.
Front spring hanger.
Torque spring.
Torque spring.
2 U-bolts and an anchor cap.
2 U-bolts and an anchor cap.
And you guys already know the description for suspension. What is it?
Secured,
No cracks.
no
bends,
cracks,
or welds.
bends,
Perfect.
or welds.
What did you do after suspension? Brakes, right?
Yes.
4 items. What are the 4 items? Like in the front. Airline, air
airline.
can, slack adjuster linkage, and you put your hand right on that can right there. See it?
Airline.
Yes.
Okay.
Airline, air can, slack adjuster linkage. Secure, no cracks or leaks, and there's no more than 1 inch of play in my slack adjuster.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what's after that?
Brake liner.
Brake liner, free of grease and oil, and at least a 1/4 inch thick. What's after that?
Tire, inside tire.
No.
No,
Drum.
Warm and
We never say drum alone.
Drum.
So you're in a hurry to talk. Just go slow and make sure you say it right. What is next?
drum and rim.
Drum and rim. What about it?
Secure. No cracks, bends, or welds.
Good. And then what's after that?
Inside
Inside
tire.
of my tire.
And you touch the inside of the tire and say what?
No cuts
No cuts
or
or
abrasions.
Secure, no cuts or abrasions. Good. And then I'm going to put my hands on the tops of the tires.
Yeah.
Tops of my tires, wearing evenly, 2 30 seconds of tread depth.
Okay.
Good? Not
Yeah.
4, 2. Good?
Yes.
And then I'm going to slide and touch the insides. The inside walls of my tires are secure with no cuts or abrasions. And then I'm going to karate chop them. There are no obstructions between my tires. There's nothing stuck in them like rocks. Good? That is the second time we're using the word obstruction. The first time is in the U-joint, and now we're using it between the tires. Good? Obstruction. Good? And then I come out here. What do I say about this?
No cuts.
What is it?
Outside.
Outside of my tire.
Secure, no cuts or abrasions. Drum and rims, secure, no cracks, bends, or welds. Lug nuts, secure. No excessive rust or shine that would indicate looseness. Axle caps, secure, no cracks or leaks. And my 2 metal valve stems and caps are secure with no cracks or leaks. And I check them with the tire pressure gauge. You guys already know this pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right, did I do the tire? I get a reward. My mud flap is secure with no rips or tears. Now I'm moving on to the next bite. I move my feet. And because I move my feet, where do I look?
Underneath. Right here. That's
I'm going to ask you again. I taught this to you on day 1. If
the
I
top.
move my feet, where do I look?
Up.
That's going to make it so you don't go under here and miss all this.
Yeah.
Sidewall, secure, no holes or damage.
Sidewall. Secure. No holes or damage.
Good. Cross members because they go across the truck. Secure, just like the alternator.
Okay.
Cross member, secure.
Secure.
Cross member, secure.
cross member
secure.
secured.
Good. Floor, secure, no holes or damage.
Floor member
secure.
secured.
No
No
holes
holes,
or damage.
or
Good.
damage.
And that's done. So now I'm going to do this. 4 parts. Landing gear, support bracket and pad. Landing gear, support bracket and pad.
Landing gear. Support
Bracket and
bracket and pads.
Secure, no
Secure.
cracks or bends.
Secured. No cracks or bends.
Make sense? And then I'm going to continue inspecting my floor. Continue looking at the floor. Continue looking at the floor. And what's the first thing I see? What's that?
Airline
What about it?
secured. No cracks. No
Airline,
leaks.
air can.
No can. Do you see an air can? Right there. What's that?
Oh, airline.
Airline.
Yeah.
What about it?
Secured.
Here. No cracks or leaks.
Good. And what's the next thing I see? This is called the tandem frame.
Okay. Tandem frame.
Secure, no cracks or bends, like the Pitman Arm and Drag Link.
Okay. Secure.
Secured.
or
No
bends.
cracks. No bends.
Follow the tandem frame up, and that's called your tandem frame pin. We have to have a conversation now. Let's talk. Come on out. Let's have a conversation. Okay. These set of okay, you can move them forward so you can turn in the city better. You move them back because you can hold more weight when they're further back. Right now, they're pretty much in the middle. They're not all the way forward. They're not all the way back. This is where they normally would go. So what you would do is there used to be, it's not there anymore, just like the handle in the fifth wheel, there used to be a handle you would pull, okay? And then that pin, see it right there?
Yeah.
See the pin that's in the tandem frame? The pin that's in the tandem frame, see
Yes,
it?
yes.
That would go in. And then I would leave the spring brakes on in the trailer, and I would push the box backwards and forwards to put the tires where I wanted them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I would push the handle in, and the pin would lock in one of those holes. That's why there's all those holes. You can move this forward and backwards to pin it in any one of those holes.
Okay.
Is that making sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. We welded that pin in place. There's no more handle, so these can never move again. They're stuck where they are. Okay? We don't need them to move. We're never putting anything inside this box. These are in the mid position, halfway forward, halfway back, and this is where we want to drive. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, now let's inspect it. My tandem frame is secure with no cracks or bends.
My tandem frame is secure with no cracks or bends.
My tandem frame pin is seated properly, meaning it's in the hole.
My tandem frame pin is seated properly.
Secure and seated properly.
Secured and seated properly.
In this case, it's welded.
In this case,
The reason we're telling him it's welded is now we don't have to inspect any of the other mechanism to make this move because it's never moving again. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My tandem frame is secure with no cracks or bends, and my tandem frame pen is seated properly, secure, and in this case, it's welded. Good?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now we're going to do this wheel assembly. First, we do suspension. But because it's in the middle of these two tires, not at the back, we can't call it the rear spring hanger. We're going to call it mid spring hanger because it's between the tires. Mid spring hanger.
Mid spring hanger.
Front spring hanger.
Front spring hanger.
Main spring.
Main spring.
Torque arm.
Torque arm.
2 U-bolts and an anchor cap.
2 U-bolts and an anchor cap.
Good. The reason it's called in the front, we have a torque spring, right? In that drive wheel, we have a torque spring because it's flat. Back here, if you look at it, it's round. So it's called a torque arm. It does the same job, but because it's round, it's a torque arm. In the front wheel, it's flat, so we call it a torque spring. Deal?
Yes.
Mid spring hanger, front spring hanger. Main spring, torque arm, 2 U-bolts and an anchor cap. What's the description?
Secured. No welds, bends.
Bends or welds.
Cracks, bends, or welds is correct. Okay, I don't care if you do it one at a time or both of you. Now you scooch to the middle underneath.
Airline.
Look up high. Do you see the air tanks?
Yeah.
And do you see the block right in front of it? Air tank and air valve, secure, no cracks or leaks.
Air tank and air valves secure, no cracks or leaks.
And then right there in front of you is an air can. See it?
Yeah.
Airline, air can, slack adjuster linkage.
Just like that one.
Airline, air can, slack adjuster linkage.
Secure, no cracks or leaks.
And my slack adjuster?
No more than 1 inch. No more than 1 inch of pay.
What's next?
Oh.
Brake liner, free of grease and oil and at least 1/4 inch thick. I can't teach this to you again here, guys. You got to know it by the time you get here.
Yeah.
So let's continue. Brake liner, free of grease and oil and at least 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah. Drum and rim.
Drum and rim, secure, no cracks, bends, or welds.
Inside of my tire.
Secure, no cuts or abrasions. Now you scooch over, put your hands and touch them.
Top of my tire.
No, both. 2 hands. Tops of my tires.
Tops of my tires.
No more than.
Secure.
Secure. No more than 2.
No more. You can't say no more. How do you get a new tire if you say no more? That doesn't make sense. At least.
At least.
At least 2 30 seconds of depth. Good. And then you slide your hands in like this. Inside walls of my tires.
Inside.
Walls of the tires.
Of the tires.
Secure, no cuts or abrasions.
Secure, no cut and abrasion.
Good. All right, come on out. We have to have another conversation now. I want you to look at this tire. Okay? Do you see it?
Yeah.
And now look at the rim. The rim starts right there and ends right here. It's the same width as the tire. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. Okay, now come over here. This rim goes all the way in to the lug nuts. Do you see it? So therefore, the rim is this fat, but the tire's only this fat. So up here on this kind of rim, if you take those two rims and put them back to back, we get a natural spacing in between them because the rim is wider than the tire. Make sense?
Okay.
That's how we get a space between the two tires. If we come back here now, on this type of rim, we've already established it's the same width as the tire. Therefore, if we put them together, they're going to smash together, and that's not good. We can't have our tires touching each other, right? So what we do is we put a spacer in. Do you see that 4-inch spacer right there?
Yes.
That's called a spacer, okay? We need to inspect it in the middle in here. So there's more words here than up there. So the inside walls of my tires are secure with no cuts or abrasions. And then you're going to say, my tires are spaced evenly and there's no excessive rust on my spacer, inspecting it from the middle. Good?
Okay.
So, okay. You're going to touch the inside walls and say, the inside walls of my tires have no cuts or abrasions. My tires are spaced evenly. There's no excessive rust on the spacer. And then just like in the front, there's no obstructions between the tires. Good? Okay. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. And then you can come out, outside wall of my tire.
No cuts.
Secure, no cuts or abrasions. Drum and rim, secure, no cracks, bends, or welds. Now, front tire and that tire, lug nuts. This is a little different. These are called dogs and lugs. Dogs and lugs. Same word. Secure, no cracks, bends, or, dogs and lugs. Secure, no excessive rust or shine that would indicate looseness. Good? Yes. Axle caps secure, no cracks or leaks. And my 2 metal valve stems and caps are secure, no cracks or leaks. I check it with the tire pressure gauge. Good?
Yes.
And then my reward for doing the tire, my mud flap is secure with no rips or tears. Good? I walk to the back. Hinges. Barn doors.
Barn doors.
Latches.
Latches.
And handles.
And handles.
Hinges, barn doors, latches, and handles.
Secured.
Hinges.
Hinges.
Barn doors.
Barn door.
Latches.
Latches.
And handles.
And handles.
Hinges, barn doors, latches, and handles.
Hinges, barn doors, latches, and handles.
Secure, no damage.
Secure, no damage.
And my handles are in the locked position.
And my handles are locked to position.
Good?
Yes.
I have a valid, secure license plate.
I have a valid, secure license plate.
And my ICC bar is secure.
And my ICC bar is secured.
Okay, ICC stands for Interstate Commerce Commission. It's what was in place in the United States before there was a DOT. Way back when Eisenhower was president, World War II. Okay? I'll give you a quick little story. World War II, 1940s. All the American soldiers that went to Europe, they brought over what was called pinup girls. Kind of like porn, light porn. Girls with big titties and dressed scantily, right? That's what calendar girls, maybe. That's what you might know them as. Anyways, there was this real famous one, right? All the guys loved her. Anyways, the war ends. It's now 1948. She's old. She's a drunk. She lives in Hollywood. She has too much makeup on, blonde hair, whatever. She's driving her Cadillac, and she rear ends a truck. This is the lowest point on the truck at the day. There was no ICC bar. So goes through the windshield and chops her head off. Well, all these soldiers that loved her, that was the reason they kept fighting. They wanted to get home to buck some blondes, So the Interstate Commerce Commission said, you know what? We're going to put a bar at the same height of the bumpers of the cars of the day. This is called the ICC bar because she had her head cut off. So they made a rule that you have to have an ICC bar. And that's what this is. ICC bar, secure. That's all it needs to be, is secure. Good? Interstate Commerce Commission, ICC. And then you just tell the trooper, I have a couple more things to show you. Good?
Yep.
When we were on the other side, we did the landing gear, right?
Yes.
Landing gear, support bracket, and pad.
Correct.
Well, there's one more piece that's on this side. Landing gear handle. secure, and stowed away. It's put away. Because let's be honest, is it secure right there? Yes, it is. It can't fall off.
Oh.
So it's secure and stowed away.
Oh, it's stowed away. That's why.
Yeah, and stowed away. Secure and stowed. Good? Landing gear handle, secure and stowed.
Landing gear handle, secured and stowed.
Four things. Bracket,
Bracket,
shield,
shield,
muffler,
muffler,
and pipe.
and pipe.
Bracket, shield, muffler, and pipe.
Bracket, shield, muffler, and pipe.
Secure.
Secured.
No excessive rust
No excessive rust
or soot
or soot
that would indicate a leak.
that would indicate a leak.
Soot is that black shit.
Right.
Bracket, shield, muffler, and pipe secure. No excessive rust or soot that would indicate a leak. Good?
Yes.
Trooper, that completes my pre-trip inspection.
Trooper, that completes my pre-trip inspection.
Good?
Yeah.
That's for you to learn.
And that's it.
Good?
Yes.
All right. Starting